Here's the Thing with Alec Baldwin. That's the podcast I decided I wanted to review. The podcast is actually recorded at WNYC in New York City. That is a public radio station in New York City that is affiliated with NPR, or National Public Radio. The one particular episode that I found most interesting was titled Brilliant Minds of Trash and Sewage. On that podcast, Alec Baldwin interviews two people. The first person he interviews is a lady who was actually a chemical engineer, probably one of the first women in the recycling industry, and she is employed by New York City as in their environmental protection section, and she is very interested in what happens in the sewage part of the recycling part of it. She said she wants everybody to know what happens when they flush. So she talks about all the layers of things that happen, from gross stuff like skimming stuff off and getting oil out of water and all kinds of things to make sure that the water and other things that go down the toilet are disposed of or recycled in some way. The other person that he interviewed is named Ron Garan, a venture capitalist who started his own recycling business, actually started recycling when he was a child, and became a millionaire, and was actually hired by a mayor in New York City to take care of New York City, because New York City was actually shipping its waste to other places to take care of it, and they decided they needed to do something about it. And he said the best thing we can do is use our waste to make money off of it. So that's what he is attempting to do. The reason I chose this podcast is I care very much about the environment, and I don't want us to contaminate it for future generations. I think we should be careful with our trash. I don't think I'm as careful as I should be, and I'm very interested in knowing the behind the scenes information. There are perhaps a few limitations for us West Texans, because New York City has these millions of people. In fact, they produce 16 million pounds of trash a day. I'm sure Lubbock doesn't do that. And I think we have different kinds of trash. We have waste from fracking. We have pesticides that have been used in our agriculture industry. So we have some of the same kind of trash, but some different kinds of issues as well. So as far as that's concerned, I thought perhaps it wasn't so helpful to those of us in West Texas. Alec Baldwin, of course, is a Democrat, and he is pretty liberal in his politics, but I've noticed, because I've listened to a couple of his podcasts, that he is very apolitical. When he is interviewing about the environment, which should not be a political issue in my personal decision, because we should all want to take care of the earth, he doesn't bring in any of his personal politics. In fact, he asks really excellent questions. I think the people who would be interested in the podcast Here's the Thing, especially this one about the environment, is anybody who is interested in environmental topics. And as far as high school students are concerned, if you are in the APES class or plan on taking AP Environmental Science, I think you should care about it. I think we should all care about what's going to happen in the future. So it was very interesting. I would recommend that people listen to the podcast, so I'm giving it a thumbs up, because here's the thing. It was really interesting to hear the questions and to hear all the background about the sewage industry and the recycling industry, even if it was New York City. So if you were interested in this kind of topic, I hope you will watch Here's the Thing, hosted by Alec Baldwin. Thank you, videographer Mr. Ryan.